What's up guys, this is Anime Crossover. I'm back with another episode of What If Naruto Was Trained by the Sage of Six Path Part 5. And if you did enjoy this video, give this video a like, and if you're new to my channel and like my content, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more crossover fictions or the twist. Now let's begin this new video.
Chapter 8. Finally, a safe haven, from Naruto's universe. Morning. Afterlife. The Sage of the Six Paths stood on his room's balcony as the sun rose over the hills and illuminated his estate. His room is on the highest level of the mansion and is also the largest in the entire structure. His Rinnegan eyes didn't flinch when the sun shone down on them, and he didn't care because he was only concerned with one person. It's been nearly 4 months since his student and descendant, Naruto, set out on his quest to find the 4 sealing keys that he hid in the other worlds he visited. Honey. The sage turned around to see his lovely wife standing behind him, concerned. Is something wrong? It's nothing, Amari. Go back to sleep, sweetheart, he said, but his wife's expression indicated that she wasn't convinced. The sage sighed deeply and closed his eyes before opening them again. I sense his power growing by the day, and his disciples are becoming stronger as a result of the training he has given them, and those disciples are also enemies Naruto fought a long time ago. But Naruto has grown so much stronger than before, and you must trust him. I have faith in him, but I fear Naruto's journey will become more difficult from here on. The sage felt something touch his hand, which was intertwined with his wife's left hand. He smiled, as did his wife, before Myra rested her head on her husband's shoulder, the latter tilting his head to touch hers. Naruto will be fine, sweetheart, after all, he is our descendant. I understand, Amari. Oh, you're so worried. Hagomoro. Let's just watch the sun rise like we've always done. With thoughts and prayers for their young descendant, the powerful ninja and his wife gaze at the rising sun. However, I must restore Kurama's full power before he and Naruto arrive in that world. They will undoubtedly require it, Hagoromo thought as he and his wife returned to their room. The universe of HSOD, evening. The sea. The vast array of seawater is breathtaking. Nothing could be seen for miles, only the sun's life-giving rays in the cold water, as well as the sea life that lurked beneath. 3 boats float on the surface of the ocean, carrying the survivors of the city plagued by the undead, as well as the rest of the world. Naruto Uzumaki, a superhuman ninja, boards one of the boats. He stands on the deck, arms crossed, his gaze fixed on the sun and the ocean's blue, cold, and salty surface. It's only been hours since they left the city, but it felt like days and months to Naruto. He calculated the distance and discovered they were approximately 5 miles from the city. Naruto let out a low-pitched growl. Why can't I do this jutsu? Is there something I'm doing wrong? The boy asked himself. As Naruto reflected on this morning before he and his friends left the city, he sighed, I just don't get it. Flashback. Several hours ago, mid-morning, man, this is peaceful. Even if only for a brief moment, Naruto thought as he sat cross-legged on a large roof of the city's tallest skyscraper, his eyes closed. He can feel the wind brush against his hair, face, and both his left and right arms, as he hasn't changed his torn attire for a new one sealed in one of his scrolls. The ninja managed to escape without waking his friends or the others, and he decided to roof hop in search of a quiet place for meditation. Naruto always felt calm and relaxed after meditating alone, especially after a good fight like the one he had with Zabuza. The boy then opened his eyes before the latter and looked down at the zombie-infested and smoke-emitting city, which still had last night's thunderclouds hovering above it, causing him to frown at the once peaceful town. Naruto, hey, Kurama, what's on your mind? Naruto asked, his body perfectly still on the spot. We haven't started training for that technique you wanted to learn yet. Is our previous conversation bothering you? Inquired the kitsune-tailed beast. A little, but I wanted to mediate to help me relax a little because I wouldn't be able to give it my all in training if I was thinking about it, right? Kurama agreed with a soft growl, very well. I'll be waiting until you're ready. With that, the fox cut the mental link, returning his Jinchuriki to his thoughts. The 2 powerful beings had talked about Naruto's battle with Zabuza while the young ninja was sleeping, much to the chagrin of the latter. When the boy mentioned the 10 Tails training method and his yet-to-arrive minions, Kurama became very concerned and told his Jinchuriki that they'd have to double the boy's usual training, to which the latter immediately agreed. Naruto sighed as he closed his eyes. Time to go to work, the boy said as he rose from his sitting position and stretched out his arms and legs in preparation for the upcoming training. When Naruto reopened the telepathy link, he said, Kurama, I'm ready to go. Ready for this, Naruto? Remember, you have to learn this technique before the next guy shows up. It'll give you a greater advantage in battle than the body flicker technique. The tailed beast received a mental nod from the boy who pulled out the same scroll that bears the difficult technique that the Uzumaki Jinchuriki is struggling to learn and master. Naruto placed the object in front of him and opened the scroll, revealing instructions on how to learn and master the flying Raijin jutsu. The sage closed his eyes and took a few deep breaths before opening them again. "Let's do it," Naruto said, crossing his familiar hand sign. A large number of shadow clones appeared behind the ninja, each with the same determined expression as their creator and his tailed beast partner. 4 hours later, just after 1 p.m., the toad sage was on his hands and knees, taking short, gasping breaths. Beads of sweat were on his face, as well as his soaked shirt, from his training with his shadow clones and Kurama, who acted as a supervisor because the technique is extremely difficult to use. Tobirama Senju, the second Hokage, invented the flying Raijin jutsu, a space-time ninjutsu. The famous teleportation jutsu earned him the moniker, the Yellow Flash of the Hidden Leaf, for his father, Minato Namikaze, and the fourth Hokage. After a few minutes, the Uzumaki sage slowly rose and stood there shakily for a few moments. "Man, I hate this feeling. It hurts a lot," Jinchuriki complained, rubbing his temples with his index and middle fingers. "I should be used to it by now, but I'm not. Yet. Naruto, you should try the technique right now. We've been gone for too long, and I'm sure your friends are worried about you by now," Kurama said, breaking Naruto's rant. "You're right. I should be able to execute it. Hopefully this time," Naruto thought as he wrapped the flying Raijin jutsu scroll in his hip pouch before taking out another scroll and placing it on the ground. Naruto opened the scroll and made a few hand gestures as a puff of smoke appeared from it, then reached his hand through the smoke and pulled it out with a kunai in his grip. The kunai is unique in that it has 3 blades rather than 1, and the handle is thicker than the typical kunai. The blades were black with a silver edge, and the handle was reddish-orange in color. Naruto examined his own rendition of the kunai that had made his father famous throughout the ninja world. Naruto walked to the edge of the roof and looked for a suitable building, and when he found one, the latter threw the kunai with precise aim. The kunai struck its intended target, creating small spider cracks on the roof around the main blade. Naruto then took a deep breath and took a step forward before collapsing to the ground as gravity pulled him down. He began to concentrate on his chakra-imprinted kunai and waited for any unusual sensations, but none appeared in any part of his body. Naruto refocused his attention on the kunai's location as the ground got closer to him by the second. The ninja was only a few feet away from becoming a road hazard. "Enough, Naruto," exclaimed Kurama over the telepathy link. Naruto sighed and shunshined to his kunai on the roof. The sage yelled in frustration, taking a few deep breaths to calm himself. As he shunshined back to the ships and his friends, he stowed his kunai. Flashback concludes. Naruto sighed again as he considered his tailed beast's words. One can't expect to learn and master a technique in a few days, even for a Jinchuriki who's a master of the shadow clone jutsu and the Rasengan. The Uzumaki recognized Kurama and agreed with the latter. He was distracted from his thoughts when he felt a tug on his right pant leg and looked down to see a small girl. The 5-year-old girl had black wavy hair, green eyes, and wore a red dress and small sandals. "Hello, what's your name?" Naruto inquired, bending to meet the girl's height. "Sasha," the little girl replied. Naruto then noticed something inside the girl's hands. "How's it going?" The girl delighted in opening her hands to reveal a loaf of bread from the kitchen. "You looked hungry, so I thought I'd give you this," Naruto said, smiling at the girl's generosity. "Thank you, Sasha. I'm a little hungry. Your parents raised you well," Naruto said before gently taking the bread from Sasha. "Sasha." Naruto and Sasha turned around to see a woman in her late 20s wearing jeans, a blue shirt, blonde hair, and black eyes. The woman was taken aback when she saw her daughter standing in front of a stranger. "I'm sorry if my daughter bothered you." Naruto walked away. "It's okay. Your daughter gave me a loaf of bread," the blonde said, pointing to the loaf in his hand. "That's my daughter. Wait, you're that boy with the strange powers, right?" The woman received a nod from the adolescent, then did the unexpected. She gave Naruto a bow. "I appreciate you shielding my family and the rest of us from that swordsman." Naruto chuckled a little nervously. "It's no problem. You're actually the first person to thank me, let alone talk to me," the woman said, her face surprised. The group of survivors had been told of the Jinchuriki's abilities and otherworldly origins since he returned from the city. They were wary of the boy because he resembled the crazed swordsman who attacked them at the Takagi mansion. "Well, the people here should thank you because you put your life in danger to protect all of us. You are a hero, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto. What do you mean, Naruto? Oh no, moaned Naruto, bracing himself for the incorrect meaning of his name. Maelstrom. Naruto was taken aback and nearly lost his footing when the woman realized the true meaning of his name. That is a very fitting name for someone like yourself. Now excuse me, Sasha needs to nap. However, Mom, no, but, young lady, the woman said to the blonde. Goodbye for now, Naruto, the mother said as she walked away from the superhuman ninja, carrying Sasha in her arms. Unbeknownst to the mother, Sasha waved goodbye to Naruto, who returned the gesture. Naruto returned to the ocean and finished the loaf of bread before feeling a pat on his right shoulder. He turned around to see Seiko standing there with a beautiful smile on her face and her new sword slung around her hip. What's going on, Seiko? Nothing, I just wanted to talk to you, Seiko explained nervously. Cool, Naruto said, motioning to the space next to him, which Seiko gladly accepted. The two teenagers then looked out at the beautiful ocean in front of them. It's lovely, isn't it? It sure is, Seiko replied, staring at Naruto before the latter looked at her, causing the swordswoman to look away with a slight blush. When she was with or near him, her purple hair always felt this way. Seiko decided to tell Naruto about her feelings right then and there, but Naruto had other plans. Naruto grabbed Seiko's shoulders, spun her around, and kissed her delicate lips. Sparks flew between the two teenagers as Naruto wrapped his arms around Seiko's curvy waist and the latter wrapped her arms around his neck, drawing him closer. Naruto and Seiko broke their battle of the mouths as they gasped for air while gazing at each other after moments of passionate kissing. Wow, was all the blonde Jinchuriki could say. I've wanted to do that since the apartment, especially after your fight with Zabuza, Seiko said, resting her head on Naruto's chest and smiling as she listened to his heartbeat. Naruto chuckled, well, I can't be beat in anything. This earned him a dirty look from Seiko. Anything, you say? Sultry Seiko asked. Naruto exclaimed as a firm yet gentle hand subtly grabbed his member in his pants. Come with me. I want to properly thank you for saving our lives, especially mine. Seiko let go of Naruto's acid before grabbing the ninja's right hand. Naruto couldn't help but follow Seiko to what could be the most memorable moment of his ninja life. I think I'm going to get lucky tonight, Naruto thought as he and Seiko entered the boat. Seiko's bedchamber. Naruto closed the door behind him and activated a barrier seal on the walls to keep eavesdroppers out before engaging in another kissing session with Seiko. Naruto had his hands on Seiko's waist before moving them to her firm butt cheeks and firmly caressed them as they passionately kissed with their tongues fighting for dominance. Seiko moaned in response before feeling something hard touch her leg. She broke the kiss and looked down to see Naruto's shinobi pants forming a tent. She quickly dropped to her knees and pulled Naruto's pants down, only to be surprised by the length of his member. Naruto, how long is that thing? Seiko inquired in a more seductive tone. Naruto rubbed his chin as he considered it. I'm not sure, but I know it surprises you, Naruto said with a smirk. You think you can handle it? Naruto teased. Seiko's response was that she was rubbing his member with her right hand before sucking it into her mouth. Seiko enjoyed the sensation of the cock throbbing in and out of her mouth, covered in saliva. While the female was sucking on his member, Naruto removed Tenkaichi, his flak jacket, and shirt and let them fall to the floor behind him. Naruto untied his headband and let it fall to the floor, leaving only his hard and toned upper body. Naruto looked down and saw Seiko still sucking on his cock, so he decided to assist her by grabbing her head with his hands and thrusting into her mouth, eliciting pleasure for both him and the female who was gagging in response. As he thrust his hips into her mouth, he felt her tongue and saliva cover his cock. Seiko began to strip her clothes until only her D-cup breasts and panties were visible to Naruto as she looked up at her new lover while thrusting into her mouth. She felt her clit getting wet, so Seiko rubbed it to make it even wetter. The cock was suddenly pulled from her mouth, and Seiko found herself being picked up by Naruto, the two of them facing each other. Naruto and Seiko exchanged lustful glances before the former removed his panties and inserted his member into Seiko. The ninja then began to thrust upward into the girl's clit. Damn, she's tight, thought Naruto as he thrusted further. It's so big, Seiko exclaimed as she began to move her hips in time with Naruto's thrusts. I can feel it tearing me apart. Naruto thrust faster into Seiko, making her moan louder and more in sync with the thrusts, as if she was trying to take it all in. The ninja quickly flipped the swordswoman onto her back on the bed, grabbed her thighs while lifting her butt, and began thrusting harder than before. Naruto could hear Seiko moaning louder as he watched her firm breasts juggle in time with his thrusts. After a few minutes in the same position, Seiko and Naruto realized they were nearing their climax and shouted each other's names. Seiko. Naruto. Seiko's body sagged after feeling his seed enter her womb, and she gasped when Naruto pulled out of her and lay next to her, breathing heavily and sweating like she did. Seiko used Naruto's left arm as a pillow as the sheet-covered teenagers stared at the ceiling. Wow, was all they could think about. That was amazing, Naruto said as his and Seiko's bodies cuddled against each other before they looked at each other. You are incredible. Seiko laughed, nuzzling her head against her lover's hard pecs. I know I am, but you complete me, Naruto, she said, not noticing Naruto's raised brow. I didn't think I'd find someone who would make me really happy for a long time, Seiko said, looking at Naruto's blue eyes, but I'm glad it's you. Naruto smiled and kissed the swordswoman on the forehead before laying his head back on the pillow. Me too, his ninja mind thought. Does this mean we're boyfriend and girlfriend now? A kiss between his lips and Seiko's lasted for a good minute before the latter pulled away from him, their faces just inches apart. I'll take that as a yes, Naruto said, smiling at Seiko, who was laying on top of him, her D-cup breasts against his chest. It's only midnight, and I recall you once said that you have incredible stamina. The purple-haired swordswoman snaked her right hand to Naruto's scrotum and began rubbing his member, causing it to be hard. I'd like to test that theory out. Oh, all right then, Seiko, Naruto smirked at his new girlfriend, ready for round 2. His response was Seiko kissing him before he covered himself and his lover with sheets. Cries and moans of pleasure and ecstasy echoed through their room moments later. The night turned to morning as Naruto's eyes blinked open and he rubbed them to wake up. He was about to get up when he felt a weight on his left arm and turned to see Seiko sleeping peacefully on it. He was sleeping when he heard a loud muffle from outside and scrambling from the hallways, waking up his new girlfriend. What's going on? Seiko asked, rubbing her eyes. Naruto just shrugged. I'm not sure. Let's find out. The two teenagers dressed up with their weapons and blended in with the crowded halls full of people, holding hands to keep from separating. Naruto could hear the muffle getting louder as they approached the door as the crowd got closer to the exit of the hallways. When Naruto and Seiko finally made it out of the corridors, he finally heard what that person was saying. Holand. 2 weeks later, I really don't like this, the Jinchuriki thought as storm clouds passed above his boat. Fortunately for them, the clouds did not rain, only blowing at 20 miles per hour, but that was not on Naruto's mind. 2 weeks had passed and there had been no sign of the Ten Tails' next minion arriving in this world to kill him, which concerned him greatly, but there was an upside. This gave him more time each day to train hard, particularly to learn and master the flying Raijin jutsu. Kurama agreed with a growl. I don't like it either, but we need to train when you get back from your distraction. You're right, I have something important to do when we return before we train. Do you mean your mate's love sessions? Naruto flushed when he heard the final statement. What would you have me do? I'm a man, you know. Whatever, Kurama sighed, just wake me up when you decide to train later. The tailed beast then disconnected the link. Yeah, but I still have a bad feeling about this, Naruto said, his train of thought interrupted by a yelp from the deck, prompting him to rush to the source. When he arrived, he began laughing at what he saw in front of him. 2 large tuna fish flapping up and down on a terrified and wet Koda. I believe they like you, Naruto said after calming down. Shut up, Naruto. Get them off of me. No way. Seiko just washed these clothes this morning, and I'm not going to stink. Naruto was dressed in his freshly washed and clean civilian attire, with Tenkaichi strapped to his back as usual. What's with the face? He asked, seeing the frown on Koda's face. Nothing. Just wanted to tap Seiko, Koda muttered, and then found Naruto standing over him with a stern face. What was that? Inquired Naruto in a demonic tone, causing Koda to stammer in response until the latter shook his head, indicating, nothing. Okay, then, the Jinchuriki said, looking at the upper deck and waving to the helmsman, head back to the campsite. We have 2 very large tuna fish that are enough for everyone. Yes, sir, exclaimed the helmsman as he guided the boat to their destination. The boat returned to the shore of an island with vast and dense forests and abundant plant life 10 minutes later. The helmsman parked the boat alongside the other vessels that remained stationary with their anchors below the water's surface. The 3 men exited the boat, with Koda dragging the 2 fishes by their tail fins, much to the chagrin of the latter. The ninja and company returned to the campsite that houses the world's last surviving humans. The campsite was 20 yards from the boats in the shore, and it was surrounded by large trees with leaf-bound branches that cast shadows over the survivors, providing much-needed shade from the sun. The camp has several tents from the boat's storage and houses those with families. Those who were single shared a room with another member of the group. Naruto then noticed a group of young children playing tag with each other in their imaginations. He couldn't help but smile as he watched the kids play until he yelled, "People, we're eating tonight." The ninja pointed to 2 large tuna fish, and everyone cheered as they ran towards them. The ninja and helmsman were able to move out of the way, but Kota was not so fortunate, as everyone crowded around him, asking for a piece of the raw meat. "Hold on. They need to be cooked first," Kota exclaimed as the crowd clapped and cleared the way for the grumbling marksman. "It's okay, Kota. Use your soothing words. Fuck you, Naruto." Naruto exclaimed mockingly, "Kota, language, there are children. Come on, fellow mothers. Let's teach that teen a lesson," exclaimed one of the mothers. The other mothers agreed and chased a comically fleeing Kota out of camp and to the shore. When the moms caught up to Kota and tackled him to the ground, Naruto winced, leaving him to be the victim of the wrathful mothers. "I almost feel for him," he mischievously chuckled. Naruto. "Greetings, Naruto." Naruto looked to his right and saw Rei and Takashi approaching with bright smiles and their arms intertwined. The spearmaster had ditched her school uniform in favor of a pink blouse with Takashi's school jacket over it and white jeans. Her bayoneted rifle was strapped to her back. Takashi, on the other hand, still wears the red shirt but now wears a new pair of jeans and carries his shotgun on his back. Naruto went back to the city on his own 3 days ago to find more medical supplies, food, and clothing for the survivors. The Jinchuriki smiled. "Hey, how's the happy couple?" Because he and Seiko announced their relationship status to their friends the day after their session, they inadvertently inspired Rei and Takashi to reveal their genuine feelings for each other, despite Naruto and the gang's knowledge. Rei was the first to speak up. "We're doing great." Among other things, Takashi said, drawing a glare from the spearmaster. "So, what's the deal with you two? Seiko is waiting for you, she misses you," Rei explained. "I've only been gone for 6 hours, Naruto deadpanned, earning Takashi's laugh. "It's not like I've been gone for 6 months or more. It's that boyfriend-girlfriend thing, you know." Rei shrugged into Takashi's ear, and Naruto could swear Takashi was about to burst from the redness on his face. "Gotta go. See you later, Naruto," Takashi exclaimed as he and Rei dashed out of his sight, leaving a dust trail in their wake. Naruto blinked, processing what had just happened until it hit him. "Oh, Takashi is going to get lucky right now, and speaking of luck, I should find my lady and see if I can get lucky, and I think I know where she is," Naruto said, focusing on Seiko's chakra level and sunshining to her location. Naruto appeared out of nowhere and discovered his girlfriend on top of a rock. She sat with her knees close to her chest, watching the sun set on the horizon, as the waves crashed against the rock she was sitting on. Naruto approached her and sat cross-legged next to her before taking a closer look at her and her attire. Seiko was now dressed in a dark blue tank top with a purple-laced bra underneath, tight blue jeans with her sheathed sword attached to the belt, and sandals rather than her high heels. "Beautiful sunset, huh?" said the Jinchuriki, wrapping his arm around his girlfriend's shoulder and drawing her in closer. When Seiko rested her head on her boyfriend's shoulder, she hummed contentedly, "It certainly is." "Would you like to know a secret?" "What?" "I love you," Naruto said, looking at Seiko's surprised expression before it turned into a smile. "I love you too," Seiko said as she and her boyfriend locked lips, the sun setting just right on them and the waves splashing against the rock they're on. Naruto Universe, the island, night. The mighty 10 Tails remained in his place beneath the cave-like palace, watching his new 10 subordinates spar. The subordinates were the chosen few who could fully utilize the chakra of the original tailed beast. However, the 10 Tails is concerned about Uzumaki's drastically increased powers following his supposed death, which were evident in his last 2 battles. The tailed beast hadn't been troubled like this since the time he sensed the chakra of the other tailed beasts inside the boy who resembled the sage of the 6 paths during their battle. The giant beast was taken aback by the boy's strength. The 10 Tails pondered this for a long time until a thought occurred to him that he did not like. The beast snarled an inhumane and loud growl at the stars, as if they were his enemies. His subordinates came to a halt in their sparring, training and kneeled before their master. "You really think your disciple will succeed in his mission? I'd give up hope for the brat if I were you," the 10 Tails continued, staring at the stars. Afterlife, before dawn, the sage, or Hagomoro, narrowed his eyes as he looked at the crystal ball on his desk inside his office. It was filled with a vast number of scrolls and books on shelves containing every known ninjutsu in the ninja world. A slide door on his right led to the estate's exterior and the renovated training ground. The 10 Tails' face was fixed on the crystal ball, as if the latter was aware that the human was watching him. Hagoromo sighed as he finished the jutsu on the crystal ball, putting an end to the transmission in the Ten Tails face. He got up from his chair and walked towards the slide door, looking at it. When Hagoromo heard multiple voices and chattering from outside, he came to a halt just inches from the door. "I wonder what he's going to teach us," a male voice said. "Do you think the training will be difficult?" inquired a female voice. "Hey, if Naruto can go through this training, then so can we," said another male voice, followed by a dog bark. "Don't worry about the training being difficult. We should be more concerned with increasing our strength so that we can help Naruto when he needs it the most," another female voice said. The other voices agreed, causing the god of shinobi to smile before opening the door. The ninja stopped talking and bowed to the sage, who told them to stand up. He looked at each of the shinobi in front of him and said 3 simple words. "Let's get this party started. Universe of HSD. Survivors Island." The birds chirping above him and the waterfall behind him can be heard. As he sat in a meditative state with his eyes closed, Naruto felt water splash against the back of his jacket as he kept his steady breath. Tenkaichi, his sword, lay flat on his knees with perfect balance and no signs of movement. Naruto is surrounded by dense trees, with only the sunlight piercing through the small leaves on the branches. Multiple movements spurred behind the wild, unbeknownst to the ninja, with the only indication of their existence being the subtle movement of leaves and bushes. They charged at the leaf shinobi after strategically positioning themselves around him. Takashi, Rei, Saya, Koda, Asami, and Seiko were revealed to be their names. Naruto's eyes widened as he quickly grabbed Tenkaichi's sword arm and back rolled to avoid the collaborative attack. His cold gaze was fixed on his disciples as Naruto rose to his full height before stabbing Tenkaichi into the ground, causing cracks. The ninja smirked as he took a taijutsu stance before motioning for his opponents to attack, which they gladly did by charging towards him. Naruto reflected on that fateful day 2 months ago as he watched his friends charge toward him. Flashback starts. 5 weeks ago. "Come again?" Naruto asked, his arms crossed and Seiko standing beside him. Takashi and the gang stood in front of him, all of them determined. The gang was present and standing in front of a large waterfall, surrounded by dense trees and with the sun setting. "Are you deaf? We want you to train us," exclaimed Saya, stomping her right foot. Her outfit consisted of a yellow t-shirt, a long brown skirt that reached her ankles, and brown sandals. Takashi cast a glance behind him. "Saya. Remember. We need to ask him politely," he said as he turned back to face Naruto. "Please train us in ninjutsu." The answer from the leaf shinobi was no. It was now Rei's turn. "Why not?" Naruto asked the attractive spearmaster. "Like I said before, in the city, your chakra circulatory system and pathways are too underdeveloped. It would take you a lot longer than my people back home." As a result of his crushed hope, Koda slumped his shoulders and said, "This sucks." Takashi and the others were feeling the same way. Naruto felt a hand on his shoulder and looked at Seiko, who sighed in response and gave him a pleading look. However, everyone looked up at the ninja, hopeful. "I can teach you guys taijutsu, as well as stealth and tactics." Takashi and Koda exclaimed happily, "Really?" Naruto nodded, and the teenagers applauded, including Rei's parents, Takashi's mother, Shizuka, and Alice. But the cheering ceased. "I will not make it easy on you guys. I'll use the same training methods I went through when I was younger, and it won't be pretty." He heard gulps from his friends. "By the time I leave, you guys will be stronger, faster, and more durable than anyone on this planet. Except me, of course. I'm assuming you want to participate in the training as well?" Everyone else laughed, but Naruto knew the kind of hell he would bring upon the teenagers, and it would be sweet. However, Seiko changed her mind and asked her boyfriend, Naruto. He looked at the purple-haired swordswoman. "What did Zabuza mean when he said your chakra level was low that night?" Naruto noticed that the cheering had stopped and that everyone was looking at him with interest. "Man, I completely forgot about that. What was Zabuza talking about?" said Koda. As Naruto remained silent against the wind, a blanket of silence fell over them. Finally, he sighed. "The reason my chakra level was low was because I was suppressing it at the time," widening everyone's eyes, including Seiko's as she slid off her boyfriend's back. "How come you were suppressing your chakra level?" Asami inquired. "Did you feel the air tighten around you when Zabuza unleashed his chakra to full strength?" Naruto asked calmly. Everyone looked at him with surprise. "I assumed so." "What do you mean, Naruto? Please explain," Takashi said, with Myra and the others nodding in agreement. Naruto closed his eyes before reopening them with a solemn expression. "If you guys and the survivors had stayed when I released my chakra back to full strength, you all would've." His friends and girlfriend flinched. "What?" Shizuka asked, tilting her head. Died, the teenagers and parents said quietly as they processed what the superhuman shinobi had just told them. Even as we speak, I'm suppressing my chakra level whenever I'm around you guys or the rest of the people, Naruto continued. He hadn't heard any response from either of his friends, so Naruto walked past them. Training starts tomorrow at 6 a.m. Don't be late. Flashbacks ends. It felt like a flashback to the day before he met his disciples charge while laughing. The gang, with the exception of Seiko, who was carried bridal style by Naruto, was in a heap 5 minutes later, with lumps on their heads and swirly eyes. Naruto couldn't help but laugh at the state of his friends. Hey, you guys lasted longer than usual. It's not fair. You were too gentle with Seiko, exclaimed Saya. She's my girlfriend. I simply can't bring myself to harm her. Naruto looked at his watch on his right wrist. Whoops, it's almost time. I must get everything ready. He let Seiko get to her feet and kissed her lips as the teenagers who managed to pull themselves from the pile. When his girlfriend cleared her throat, he was about to leave. Yes? Seiko asked, pointing to Tenkaichi. Oh, right. Naruto stretched out his right arm, and the black dado flew to his hand before he sheathed it on his back. During the 2 months, Naruto discovered that he could control his sword with his thoughts, which he attributed to the sword being a part of him. I adore that. See you guys at the beach, he said as he sunshined from his vantage point. Didn't you tell him? Asked Rei to Seiko, who was staring at the swirling leaves where her boyfriend had just stood. I couldn't, Seiko said as she walked ahead of the others who were perplexed, except for Rei and the girls in the group. What's she talking about? Kota asked Asami. Asami shook her head and began walking, catching up to the swordswoman. Sorry, she said back to the boy. Among us ladies, the policewoman replied, causing the marksman to slug his shoulders. Survivors beach camp later. The entire camp gathered near the shores to say goodbye to Naruto, who was dressed in another leaf shinobi outfit with Tenkaichi strapped to his back. Fortunately for him, he packed a spare before starting the journey. In front of the survivors were Seiko and the others as they waited while Naruto was saying goodbye to the kids, especially Sasha. I'm glad I got to meet you all. These last 2 months have been incredible. Ooh. Naruto picked Alice up and let her cry on his shoulder to let it all out. Don't worry, Alice. True strength comes from within when you have someone precious to you. He felt something grab his left leg pant and found Alice with tears about to escape her eyes. I may not be here with you and the others, he smiled as he brought Alice in front of his face, but I'll always be in your memories and your heart. Alice sniffled and rubbed away her tears before saying, okay, with a sad smile. Naruto kissed Alice on the cheek and set her down where Zeke was, and the ninja patted the dog. Be a good boy and keep Alice and the others safe, okay? Zeke barked with determination, causing Naruto to chuckle, and walked in front of Seiko, who was looking away, but Naruto cupped her face and brought her gaze to meet his own. I now have 2 more reasons to live. What are they? Seiko couldn't help but be surprised. Her boyfriend gave her a friendly smile. Of course, the first one is you. And the other, well. He placed his right hand on Seiko's stomach, I think you know, eliciting a look of surprise on her face before she sobbed and hugged him. You should have told me, Seiko. I didn't want to hold you back, be back. If I had told you, you would have stayed instead, Seiko replied, still crying, her gaze returning to Naruto's blue eyes and smile. I promise you, Seiko. I will do my best to finish this mission quickly and defeat the 10 tails so that I can return to you and our child. Naruto turned to Takashi and the others, come here, guys. Takashi's group got close to the ninja, stretch out your hands, please. Naruto placed his hand on each of them, leaving a fuinjutsu marking on each hand, including Zeke's paw. I made it myself over the last few weeks of training. They will keep you safe from harm and warn you of impending danger. Naruto and Seiko walked together towards the water, gazing into each other's eyes and pressing their lips against each other with passion. Minutes passed until Naruto regrettably broke it and opened the portal, surprising the audience behind him. Just as Naruto was about to leave, Seiko drew him close to her and whispered something into his ear, shocking him of whatever she had said to him before he smiled at her again. He kissed his girlfriend one last time before entering the portal, and soon the portal closed behind him, leaving behind a smiling Seiko who rubbed her stomach, knowing her lover and the father of her child would return for them. With company. From within the portal, I still can't believe it. I'm going to have a child. Kurama, did you hear me? Naruto exclaimed happily as he walked through the portal with a grin, beams of light coming and going from opposite directions at the speed of a shooting star. The ninja was walking atop a white straight path that seemed to go on for miles. Yes, I heard you, Naruto said, raising an eyebrow at the fox's tone. What are you upset about? None of that. Jinchuriki, my knucklehead, knocked a girl up. The fox's tone caught Naruto off guard. I didn't mean to. I. You and Seiko were at it almost every day. You couldn't keep it in your pants every time you laid eyes on her, remarked Kurama, his Jinchuriki gaining a tick mark. Did you think there would be no repercussions? I am a man. She's a lady. Even if I tried, I couldn't stop myself. Besides, you shouldn't talk to me this way, especially since you're the godfather, Kurama grumbled. Naruto heard the tailed beast's stunned grunt. Wait. What did you just say? A surprised Kurama inquired. You're my child's godfather, Kurama, Naruto said, smiling at the fox's change in tone. You're ideal because you're my partner, and partners look out for one another and their families. Plus, you've been a member of my clan, family since Mito, so why not make it official? Kurama was at a loss for words as he processed what his Jinchuriki had just told him. A tailed beast being the godfather of a child was unheard of in ninja world history, but the Sage of the Six Paths was a father figure to him and the rest of the tailed beasts before his untimely death. Well, I'm standing by. You know you want to, don't you? Thank you, Naruto, Kurama said with a genuine smile. I am truly honored to be your child's godfather, and I promise to protect that child with all my might. I'm glad, Kurama, Naruto chuckled as he continued walking on the path that leads to the next world. As he walked, Kurama suggested that he raise his chakra level to half strength before they arrived. He raised an eyebrow. Why should I raise my chakra level to half strength? It's enough to suffocate anyone who is or isn't near me. Remember, we're about to enter the first major world. It could be populated by strong individuals. It never hurts to be cautious. Naruto had to agree with the fox on this one. Alright, you're the tailed beast, Naruto smirked, you know better, old man. The fox chuckled darkly as Naruto gained a tick mark on the back of his head in response to the old man's comment, pervert. The unknown realms in a hidden and underground cave beneath a mountain. The cave was filled with boulders as obstacles and small cliffs as advantage points for fighting, as small craters with smoke coming out of them attest. In the middle stood two figures, one of whom was on the floor. You finished your Bankai training, a woman smirked. She is a slender, dark-skinned woman of average height, with golden-colored eyes and long purple hair in a ponytail, dressed in a black, backless sleeveless undershirt, an orange overshirt with two white straps on each shoulder, a large beige sash around her waist, and a pair of lightweight brown shoes. I told you. That I could do it, Yoruichi, Ichigo said on his knees, panting heavily. After a moment, he stood up, revealing himself to be a very tall, lean-built, and muscular young man around 15 years old, with spiky orange hair, peach skin, and brown eyes, and wore a black kimono with a white undergarment and a strap across his chest. Yoruichi nodded before a solemn expression took over, causing the boy to flinch slightly. Rukia's execution is just a few hours away. We have to come up. Why? Suddenly, electricity appeared out of nowhere, prompting the two to brace themselves for battle. When the electricity destroyed small parts of the boulders around them, she and Ichigo braced themselves. Yoruichi, take a look. Ichigo drew his sword, an oversized kyber with a black blade, silver edge, and wrappings around the incorrect hilt. The two warriors were surprised when the electricity began to form a white hole while still destroying the boulders and small cliffs in their training ground, but their surprise turned to shock when they felt incredible pressure coming from inside the portal. Ichigo struggled a little, and Yoruichi appeared unfazed, but her expression suggested otherwise. Like Ichigo, this is easily a captain's level. Maybe more. She soon saw an appearing figure exit the portal, and her surprise returned when she realized the figure was the source of the intense spiritual pressure. What is your name? Ichigo inquired of the mysterious stranger. Do you have a fetish for black or something? The stranger asked as he took a closer look at Ichigo. Ichigo's head was marked with a tick mark. Don't switch topics. And what's up with your hair color? Not the color I'd have chosen for my hair, Ichigo said as more tick marks appeared on his head. Yoruichi decided to intervene before Ichigo's temper flared, and she walked forward a little, the stranger, potential enemy's gaze now fixed on her. Who are you? How did you come across this location? Yoruichi was observing the stranger's characteristics. Blonde hair, blue eyes, and 3 whisker marks on each cheek, as well as his attire. A dark blue long-sleeved shirt and matching pants, a flak jacket, a long black headband with a metal portion that holds a strange symbol in the middle, and finally the sword strapped on his back with a small swirl pattern dangling from the hilt. Why? The stranger inquired. Is this location secret? Yoruichi nodded. I'm sorry. I suppose the portal is open at all times and places. As for my name, Yoruichi could swear the stranger was smirking at her, I'll tell you if you or the fetish guy can land one hit on me. The stranger ignored Ichigo's protest of not having a fetish, instead observing each of the opponents in front of him. Their chakra levels are really high given how tight the air is in here. Kurama was correct about the people of this world and their strength. Is he challenging us? Yoruichi was about to respond, but she was beaten to it. Either he doesn't sense our spiritual pressures, or he's a cocky one. I'm not going to hit you once. I'm going to cut you up. Ichigo yelled as he charged at the man who mocked him, lifting his sword for an overhead slash and swinging it when he got close to the blonde stranger, but the latter didn't stay put, easily sidestepping the strike. It's not bad. You effortlessly lift that massive sword. But can you really put it to use? The stranger taunted, leaping backwards to distance himself from Ichigo, and as he landed, the ninja ducked under a roundhouse kick from Yoruichi, who appeared behind him. I didn't notice her moving. He rolled forward, only to come to a halt in front of Ichigo, who had already drawn his sword downward, and looked back to see Yoruichi coming at him with a drawn-back punch. One way then, the ninja said, disappearing in a blur of leaves. Was that the flash step? Yoruichi thought as she shunpoed after the ninja, leaving a perplexed Ichigo after he stopped his attack. Oh, no. What happened to them? Ichigo asked, looking around at his friend, teacher and the unknown enemy. Finally, the two warriors appeared at the top of the training ground, with the ninja's hand connecting to Yoruichi's foot, causing them to fall to the ground, with Yoruichi standing in front of Ichigo. No problem, Ichigo. I thought I had him with that last hit, but he countered it at the last second, Yoruichi said, shaking his hands to relieve the stinging pain. I'm impressed, she said, looking at him. Your speed is comparable to that of a shunpo master. I don't know what a shunpo master is, but I have to admit that you're faster than me. Really fast, the ninja chuckled. My senses and reflexes only saved me from your attacks. Plus, even if I were at full strength, I still wouldn't be able to keep up with you. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, he bowed to the two associates, and your speed clearly rivals my father's. I think you two would have made great friends. He stood from his bow and gestured to them. Is he only half strength? If he was at full strength, I would have put more effort into my attacks. Yoruichi reflected before introducing herself. My name is Yoruichi Shiwen, and this is. She nudged the teenage orangehead. My name is Ichigo Kurosaki, substitute Shinigami, he groaned as Yoruichi punched him in the face. What was that for? Ichigo rubbed the bump on his brow. You moron. He has no idea what we are. Could you repeat that? Naruto asked, gaining the attention of the two Shinigami. What about a Shinigami? Before we tell you, you must tell us how you got here and your origins, Yoruichi said firmly, her arms crossed.
Kurama, do you sense the key? Naruto crossed his arms, sensing no negative motions from either of them, but a dark power within Ichigo that he chose to discuss another time.
Yes, it's above us, but I sensed other chakra signatures all over above ground, the tailed beast growled before responding to his Jinchuriki. These signatures are extremely potent. I believe those two can assist us in learning more about the world. They appear trustworthy, but all they know is about the war, your training with the old man, and your mission. All right, he said, looking at Yoruichi and Ichigo, the latter of whom was tapping his foot impatiently. The previous hour had been full of surprises for Jinchuriki and the Shinigamis as the former tried to interpret everything Yoruichi had told him. His eyes were closed. Okay, let me get this straight. You, Yoruichi, are a soul and a Shinigami. Yoruichi nodded while leaning backwards against a wall with Ichigo standing next to her, and Strawberry over there as a substitute Shinigami. When Ichigo mumbled, fish cakes, in retaliation for calling him, Strawberry, he stifled the urge to scream. Now we're in an underground training area in the Soul Society where all the souls and Shinigami reside. Naruto opened his eyes and looked at Yoruichi. How am I doing so far? You're actually on track. I expected you to be another blockhead like Ichigo here, Yoruichi teased, drawing a glare from the orange teen. Gee thanks, the Jinchuriki replied sarcastically before continuing. So now Rukia is going to be executed in a few hours just for giving her powers to Ichigo just so he can save his family. Okay. Count me in. Now you and others are on a rescue mission to save her. He received a nod from the serious teenager. Eh? Ichigo and Yoruichi exclaimed. Are you surprised? Why? Naruto inquired, his head tilted in confusion. Ichigo laughed as he pointed at him, saying, Why are we surprised? You're a crazy superhuman ninja from another dimension. How can? Yoruichi smacked him across the head. Ow. What was the point of that? You also forgot about a powerful demon slaughtering all of his friends in front of him, as well as the sealing keys he was sent to retrieve by his master in order to save his world. Oh yeah, Ichigo said to Naruto, I'm sorry, it's only. You don't trust me, Naruto was told by the Shinigami, and I understand how you must feel. That is why I want to assist you in saving Rukia. Another reason is. Ichigo raised an eyebrow as Naruto continued, I want to be your friend. Ichigo's face shifted from surprise to a small smile as he approached Naruto and extended his arm, which the latter firmly took and shot before letting go. After we save Rukia and all, we should fight, Ichigo said to Naruto. Yeah. I'll probably win that match, the shinobi said, an angry vein appearing on Ichigo's forehead. I mean you were slow when you attacked me, I thought I had to wait for 20 years for you to land a hand on me. Strawberry. Naruto smirked as multiple tick marks appeared on Ichigo's head. Oh, you're certain about that? Do not say it. Naruto tensed his arms as he realized what his new ally was about to say. Fish cakes. That's all there is to it. You're no longer alive. Another thing the ninja said was, for real this time. Naruto punched the Shinigami in the chin while the latter kicked him in the chin, resulting in a wrestling match with the teenagers punching and kicking each other in a smoke cloud that covered their bodies. Yoruichi broke out in a cold sweat at the sight of this. And here I thought he was a mature man. She sighed before clearing her throat, putting an end to the scuffle between the boys who were staring at her. Naruto took advantage of this and delivered one final punch to Ichigo's face before sunshining out of the latter's grip and reappearing next to him. Ignoring Ichigo's complaints about the ninja and sucker punches, Yoruichi said, since you two stopped your lovers' quarrel, ignoring the boys, we're not lovers. Comment, we must come up with a plan. Now I believe. Can't we just barge in and beat the crap out of whoever gets in our way? Naruto asked, and Ichigo agreed. His response was a massive right hook from the former Division 2 captain. Ow. What? It's a valid question. He grumbled as he rubbed his bruised cheek before glaring at a snickering Ichigo. Yoruichi bemoaned the boy's lack of foresight. You come with me, she said to the ninja, who flinched slightly in response to being hit again. I'll go over Soul Society and the Gote 13's captains and lieutenants' abilities in greater detail. She turned to face Ichigo, who had stood up. You take a nap until we leave. Now, said the older Shinigami as Ichigo opened his mouth to say something. Byakuya, you'll need all of your strength for this fight. The substitute Shinigami reluctantly left the area, leaving Naruto and Yoruichi alone. Sokyoku Hills, noon. Didn't I promise you I'd get you out of here, Rukia? Ichigo said this while holding Zangetsu against his right shoulder and Rukia under his left armpit. He was wearing a gray cloak that covered his Shinigami attire and stood atop what used to be the arc of the Sokyoku before its apparent destruction by the latter's new strength. You. Moron. Rukia expressed her appreciation. You really aren't, she said to her human friend. Idiot. Both Ichigo and Rukia blinked a few times before turning to the left to find Naruto Sunshine next to him with an angry look. How could you leave and disregard the plan? Ichigo barked at him. Didn't you sense or see that massive firebird? I intervened because it was about to kill Rukia. He looked down at the audience, specifically two Shinigami, as well as those two. Naruto was perplexed until he followed Ichigo's gaze to the two men who assisted in Rukia's rescue. Captain Shunsui Kyoraku of the 8th Division and Jashiro Yukitaki of the 13th Division. They're fine in my opinion because Yoruichi told me about them. I had a feeling Yukitaki thought Rukia's execution was wrong. Naruto took note of the men's appearance. Kyoraku is tall and fair-skinned, with high cheekbones, gray eyes, and long wavy brown hair tied in a ponytail and long bangs framing the left side of his face. His outfit consists of Shinigami garb, a captain's cloak, and a pink, flowered lady's kimono that drapes over his uniform and his two swords on his left sash. Jashiro is a tall man with emaciated features and long white hair that almost reaches his waist. He wears the Shinigami uniform, which includes a long-sleeved captain's cloak with a crimson lining and a narrow obi that secures his sword. Rukia looked at the stranger, surprised, as he spoke about her captain as if he knew him for a long time. How do you know about my captain? How did you find out about me? What is your name? Naruto's gaze shifted from the captains to the petite Shinigami. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, and I'm a friend, Naruto replied with a grin as he shuffled Rukia's hair, earning the latter's glare. I'm here to assist this idiot in rescuing you. He ignored Ichigo's, hey, and took a quick glance at Rukia. She had black hair in a bun, was petite, and was dressed in a white kimono rather than the Shinigami's black kimono. HHMM. When Ichigo and Rukia heard him, they looked at him with interest. What? Both Ichigo and Rukia asked at the same time. You two are going out, aren't you? Naruto asked, mischievously grinning at the two Shinigami. Don't lie to me, please. No, we aren't. Ichigo and Rukia yelled angrily at the ninja. What's the matter with you? Inquired Ichigo, his scowl amusing. Meanwhile, the captains and lieutenants were recovering from the fact that one of the Ryoka had successfully stopped the Sokyoku, when another Ryoka appeared out of nowhere. Where do these guys come from? One of them had to inquire. Sorry. Naruto said with a pouty face that quickly turned serious as he returned his gaze to the enemies who stood in their way. Rukia, let's get you out of here. He then heard a clanging sound in the distance and looked up to see a Shinigami with spiky red hair and a katana knocking out two Shinigami behind him. Whose was that? An acquaintance of yours? He returned his gaze to Ichigo and Rukia. Renji. Rukia exclaimed over the land, relieved. Hey there, Rukia. Ichigo, smirked the man known as Renji. Naruto then noticed the man's heavy breathing and wondered if he had recently been in a fight. I'm glad you were able to make it, Ichigo said, a small smile on his face. Well, I couldn't let you have all the fun, right? Scoffed Renji. He noticed Naruto standing next to the substitute at that moment. Who exactly is he? A friend, Naruto replied from the other side of the world. We got that out of the way, Ichigo said confidently as he lifted Rukia over his head, which was noticed by Naruto and Renji. Wait a minute, Ichigo. You simply cannot, hold on, Renji said, turning blue and unsure of Ichigo's action. You aren't really. Be careful down there. Ichigo hurled a screaming Rukia from the stand at a shocked and confused Renji. Naruto winced as the two Shinigami collided and pushed him back several meters. Rukia stood up and glared at the human, saying, Gah, Ichigo, you're a jerk. Renji was the second to stand up and glared at the human. You moron. What if I don't get her? With a twitching eye, Renji chastised his new human ally. Take her and leave, Ichigo declared to them, as Naruto loosened his arm in preparation for the upcoming fight. Get her to a safe place. That is your responsibility. Renji sighed and began running away, carrying his best friend in his arms. Ah. Renji? A stunned Shinigami asked. He has black hair and wears the traditional Shinigami robes with a large purple collar and a katana tucked into his waist tie. The katana has a bright yellow handle with two square notches on opposite sides and a base octagonal-shaped guard. This is Marichio Omeda, lieutenant of the Gotei 13's 2nd Division. What are you doing standing there, you moron? All lieutenants, follow them, said the woman behind him. She is a petite woman with gray eyes and black hair worn short with two long braids bound in white cloth and each ending in a large golden ring. She, like all Shinigami, wears the Shingami uniform, which consists of a white sleeveless cloak, a yellow obi, and traditional Chinese shoes with ordinary white socks rather than the standard Shinigami footwear. Her rank as a captain of the Gotei 13 is indicated by the cloak. Omeda and two other lieutenants from Divisions 1 and 4 went after Renji and Rukia with their swords drawn after obtaining permission from their respective captains. The Ryoka with the orange hair shunpoed in front of them, stopping them in their tracks while stabbing Zangetsu into the ground. Omeda was irritated by this. Get out of here. Ichigo raised his head and looked around. Itagumo, run. The sword glowed before the woman's two smaller blades protruded from the hilt at 45-degree angles. She is a tall, young-looking woman with gray eyes and short messy silver hair that is shoulder-length and styled as two thin braids on the right side of her face, a thin dangling red earring on each ear, and a lieutenant badge on her left arm on his Shinigami attire. Pierce. Ganryomaru, exclaimed one of the lieutenants with short silver-gray hair, a small handlebar mustache, and light tan skin. His outfit consists of a white jinbauri over the standard Shinigami uniform, as well as long white arm guards. His sword turned green before becoming a rapier. Blow him up. Jijetsubori. Omeda's sword blade morphed into an oversized spiked ball attached to a long chain, resembling a flail. Ichigo easily punched through his shikai, destroying it in the process, and into his stomach, easily knocking him out. Ichigo spun around to avoid the older male Shinigami's thrust slash and delivered an uppercut to the surprised lieutenant's chin, knocking him out as well. This is not possible. He's not even using his Zanpakuto, exclaimed the woman before being knocked off her feet by Ichigo's open palm attack. Hearing footsteps and a sword drawn behind him, Ichigo spun around, grabbing Zangetsu with his left hand and blocking a slash from Division 6 captain and Rukia's brother, Byakuya Kuchiki. I can see your moves, Byakuya, Ichigo said confidently and with a grin, while the captain maintained his stoic expression as they prepared to fight. This is my chance, exclaimed one of the Shinigami attempting to intervene in the fight. A blur appeared in front of him as he was about to shunpode and was sent flying back by a hard kick, stopping at Soifan's feet. The stealth captain turned away from the downed Shinigami to find the Ryoka with blonde hair standing with his left leg outstretched from the attack. Naruto lowered his leg before asking them a single question. Who do you think is head Captain Yamamoto? The Shinigami's eyes widened at this. When an old man with a wooden staff used as a walking stick approached him, he received his answer. He has brown eyes, a long white beard, long brows, scars on his head, and wears a Shinigami outfit with the captain's cloak draped over it. Are you Captain Yamamoto? Yamamoto nodded. You know my name, but I don't know yours. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, and I'm the one who will beat you to death for what you've done. Shinigami, including Yukataki and Kiraku, were taken aback by his response. However, in order to do so, I must stop suppressing my chakra at half strength and allow it to return to full strength. The other Shinigami's stunned expressions were exaggerated by the boy's claim of being at half strength. His spiritual pressure is easily a captain's level, and he's only half strength. Where do guys like him and that Kurosaki kid come from? Soifan's eyes widened as the pressure around Ryoka increased, as evidenced by the blue flame-like aura that surrounded his body. Is it getting higher? How can a human have such power? The ground shook slightly as the aura faded from view, and the boy took a deep breath before opening his eyes. Yamamoto stood there, unfazed by the ninja's increased spiritual pressure, until he did something unexpected. He chuckled. He removed his captain's cloak and motioned for Soifan and the others to step back, which they did. All right, kid. I'll make you laugh, but you'll soon regret it. I guarantee it, brat. Whatever, let's get this done. Kurama, do I have a chance against this guy? Said Naruto before consulting with his partner. His spiritual pressure is tremendous. Maybe. The tone of Kurama's response made Naruto sweat. Did I bark faster than I could chew this time? Definitely, but you are the most unpredictable shinobi in our world, and he doesn't know anything about your abilities, plus you have me to back you up, Kurama said. As his confidence grew, the Jinchuriki smiled slightly. Many thanks, Kurama. Naruto responded while drawing Tenkaichi with his sword, right arm. Here I am. He charged at the Shinigami leader. To be continued.
That's it for this podcast, guys. Thanks for listening to this video. If you did enjoy this part of the story, like, share, and subscribe for more. And thank you all for helping support and have a great day.